Hi and welcome back to Signal Solutions TV. I'm Mark Rose. I'm here with Adam Butler.
Hello everyone.
We've also got Colin Abrey here from Nextivity.
Mark.
And I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm Colin Abrey, and I've been
introduced you. Sorry.
That's it. I've been in the cellular coverage world, in building coverage world for approaching 20 years. Joined Nextivity 7 years ago, set up the channel business in EMEA. Now responsible for our strategic accounts, which are essentially global customers that use our technology around the world.
Yeah, a real coup for us, grabbing you and bringing you into the studio. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, I don't talk to just anybody.
No, exactly. We've had to work really hard to get you in here. But no, it is appreciated, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and what we're going to talk about today, Adam?
Right, okay, so again, I'll refer to my notes. I won't ask to be excused for that. Really, this is how, and with a retail focus, because that's a big focus area for us at the moment, how can a retailer turn what is effectively a problem, poor or non-existent mobile signal in their building, into a profit? You know, what are the numbers, what are the mechanics behind, rather than them just saying it as, oh, this is a problem, but it's going to cost us money. Yeah. What actually are the upsides of turning that problem into a profit? How does it all work? So strong mobile coverage, we believe, will drive retail success, and we'll go through how.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, with a revenue benefit focus to that. So with that in mind, I mean, you know, where do we start on that subject?
It's a big one, isn't it?
Yes,
you know, there's so many angles to this, some of which we sort of touched on in earlier episode. But for me, it's if you think about what we discussed before on the changing habits of shoppers, connectivity becomes a must-have in a retail environment to maximise what that customer can do while they're in your store. So, you know, omnichannel shopping becomes important. So this is the process of being able to research for product information, being able to use loyalty apps in store, being able to access promotional codes and QR codes and this sort of thing, and order in store and collect at the collection point. So smoothing the path for the customer. And we know, so I suppose I should sort of step back and say, as a company, we've put a lot of effort in recently to understanding the business case within the retail environment.
Yes.
And we've looked at this from this topic perspective, which is revenue, but also risk management and operational efficiencies.
Yes.
And there is no doubt in my mind that there is a very strong return on investment business case for the retail environment.
Yes.
And that starts with, I suppose, the customer experience, and what does improving the customer experience drive for the retailer.
Yes.
So our view is that there are a number of aspects within revenue generation that are enabled through having a good connectivity strategy.
Yes.
So as we said before, cellular is part of that connectivity strategy, but it's an important part that enables the shopper spend, if you like. So if you're thinking about the omnichannel shopping, we found through our research that enabling omnichannel shopping increases revenue from the omnichannel shopper by something in the order of 10 to 30%.
Yes.
So that means that shopper that is enabled to use omnichannel shopping will spend somewhere between 10 and 30% more whilst they're in the retailer, or whilst they're reacting.
And I don't know the margins of a retailer, and I'm sure they vary depending on the type of retail, whether it's supermarket or, you know, high fashion retailers. But 20 or 30% increase for one customer, it must be huge for a retailer financially.
Yeah, I mean, small retailers, any retailers interested in an uplift in their revenue of 10 to 30%, right? Big retailers, it's massive. You know, somebody like we're not going to talk names, but somebody like a major European grocery retailer that might have revenues somewhere between 60 billion and 170 billion. You know, imagine that, you know, 10% uplift. Even if you look at the low end of the bracket.
It's just made me think, actually. I don't know who said it, maybe one of us will recall, but retail is detail. is a famous quote. I will dig out who and find out to put it in the comments.
Yeah,
because retail is detail. So actually, the detail of let's allow our customers to be able to use whatever device on whatever network they want within our store detail delivers the customer experience. There's a reason why customers are very brand loyal, and that's because they keep going back and getting the experience they want.
Yeah.
We know about loyalty. It builds trust. That's brand loyalty. That's the benefit of a brand. But actually, loyalty can be broken. But then, of course, the retailers have got loyalty apps. All of these things rely on connectivity.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll touch on sort of customer churn and some experience we've had with a particular retailer. But
before we dive into the numbers, one question I've got is why. Well, I'll go back a step. Do retailers know that they've got a problem with mobile connectivity in their stores?
They're starting to know.
Okay.
Is the honest answer. So,
and are you starting to see success?
We're seeing it. Yeah. So we currently have 4 of the 10 largest retailers in the world are using our technology in their retail environments, and we've got others that are either running proof of concepts or about to use proof of concepts. So that's just the top 10 largest, right? We've got other retail customers outside of that. As you know, you service some of them. And we're just seeing a big uptick in that right now. So my feeling is that retail corporates have started to realise under their own steam that Wi-Fi is no longer enough. It's great for their operational stuff. They need it for their operational stuff. I'm not trying to compete with that or say that cellular is better. But cellular has a big part to play in the connected strategy, right?
Yes.
What are they doing about connecting their stores? So, it's the shopper coming in and being able to connect seamlessly.
Well, I think we can go into the nitty-gritty of this, because before we've done an episode where we've talked about customer experience, and that is obviously very important. But because this episode is about the return on investment from this side of things, I think we can go into the nitty-gritty of that. That I imagine the retailers that we all sell to and the big retailers that you guys have serviced, they aren't going to do it unless there is a return on investment from their point of view. Absolutely. You could say in all sorts of ways there's a fluffy customer experience, which is very important, but even that for them is to gain a return on investment.
100%. And that, this is why we've built the business case, the costed business case.
Yes.
Because we had clear feedback from retailers that we were talking to that you can't just come in and talk, say words that we sort of all know. Like, few of our customers are connecting to Wi-Fi. Omnichannel shopping's becoming a big issue. Blah blah blah. You say all that. Yes, intuitively you think there is a revenue increase from that, but how do you prove that to us?
Where are the numbers?
So we've spent quite a bit of time recently on building a return on investment model, and we've looked at a number of things. Firstly, on the revenue side, so we started talking earlier about omnichannel shopping. If you think about omnichannel shopping, firstly, there's this increase that we talked about of 10 to 30%. So that's an industry number. It's not a Nextivity number. It's an industry number that we found through the research. We found that 90% of shoppers now would like to use omnichannel shopping. If they're connected in the store, they would like to use it. So that suggests you've got the potential of 90% of shoppers spending 10 to 30% more.
Yes.
Then you find out that actually only 15 to 20% of shoppers are connecting to in-store Wi-Fi. So if in-store Wi-Fi is the strategy, you've immediately restricted your market for your higher value customers.
Yes.
Right? So customers that are spending 10 to 30% more are clearly higher value to the retailer. So why wouldn't you want to expand that? So this is just one topic in the return on investment, right? But why wouldn't you want to expand that to 100% of your shoppers? They can all access. So if you do that, the number's quite simple, right? I mean, at least we've tried to keep it simple. We developed the concept of a standard customer, right, in the business model. So it was we went for a grocery retailer. We went for a store size of 9,000 odd square meters,
Yeah.
and a revenue generated from that store of $50 million dollars per year, right? So, as part of our research, that seemed to be a sort of
very defensible
exactly.
assumptions.
Yeah.
Yes,
fairly typical.
Yes,
analysts telling us that looks good. So that's the basis of our standard customer. So then you can apply the numbers that you find in the other research, right? How can you increase that by the 10 to 30% of omnichannel shopping?
Yeah.
So all the way through our revenue case, or the return on investment case, we did a lot of research and came up with various ranges of numbers, right, for increasing revenue. We always picked the bottom range, is the first thing to say, and it's sort of important as we start talking about this. So we always picked the bottom range. Occasionally we went below the bottom range, because we want this business case to stand up once we start to get challenged on it.
Yeah, very easy to show a business case that almost looks fanciful.
Yes,
exactly.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, but and I know that the numbers have been really delved deep into, and the assumptions have been wound back, backed up on references and lots of industry research. So so they are very defensible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was important for us. You know, we didn't want to start sending out a document and get it in front of a chief executive officer or chief financial officer or something, and they just chuckle at it and put it in the bin. You know, they need to read it.
Yes.
So, just expanding on the omnichannel shopping side, we started taking that standard customer and applying these rates. But of course, we first did, well, what's your potential with Wi-Fi only? Okay, so again, we wanted a fair comparison on this. So what we fed into the number is, this is your potential from your omnichannel shoppers with Wi-Fi only. This is your potential if you get 100% of your shoppers connected, because in reality, it's virtually 100% of people have a mobile device these days. So we applied those numbers, took one from the other, and that was the potential increase, using this 90% that we found in research of people that would like to use omnichannel shopping. Yes. I think you had a number that was a bit smaller in some research that you looked at.
It was like, I'll use the same one again. A Deloitte study in 2023, 58% of consumers use mobile devices to compare prices while shopping in store.
And that's the start of omnichannel shopping, isn't it? Starting to compare and find information whilst you're in store.
Yes.
So we went through, and there's clearly a benefit there, right? If you go from 15% of customers to 100% of customers connected, they can use omnichannel shopping. You're going to get some benefit out of that. We looked at other issues like discretionary purchase. So in this case, it was, I might have these numbers a little bit wrong, but it was something like 5 to 20% potential increase if you enabled discretionary spend. So discretionary spend is, if I'm in a store and I want, I've gone in to buy something, but I can phone home and say, actually, whilst I'm here, do I want this as well?
Which we've all done.
We've all done. Yeah. There's a telly on offer.
Yeah.
It's 400 quid. It's the one I want. Should I buy it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I was thinking more, do I need to buy a pint of milk? You've gone straight in with the telly. I like
He's gone
it.
to the high value.
You see it. Well, and it's a very good point, because we have spoken about this a few times, and we usually come to a pint of milk.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of the initial spend in store comes from. You're only buying the £400 telly because you went in to buy the pint of milk.
Yeah.
Your discretionary spend
could be huge.
I'm sure your assumptions have been very.
So we assume 2%
discretionary
spend.
There you go.
When the industry tells us it's between 5 and 20.
Yeah. I think the reason for that will be is because there's such a high range of what people are buying with discretionary spend.
It
might be a box of eggs. It might be a new TV.
Exactly. I mean, I've done it since you've raised the TV. I did it when I bought a car.
Is that right?
Phoned my wife and said, I found this car. It's the one I want.
Yeah.
Can I?
There you go.
I mean, she's a very nice lady, and she just said, the money's yours. Do it.
And she said, definitely not. Right. Okay. Yeah. Great.
But the point's the same, right?
Yeah.
So that's the sort of thing we're talking about with discretionary spend. The call could come the other way, right? It might be that you're in the store and your other half gives you a call, or your child gives you a call, or whatever it is. So can you get me this whilst you're out?
Yeah.
So it's that ability to spend more on discretionary spend.
Yes, yeah.
We looked at dwell time, so this idea of increasing the dwell time increases spend. So the survey I relied on that suggested a 1% increase in dwell time, increased revenue by 1.3%. So then the assumption we had to make is how many people would increase because of discretionary spend, right? So as an individual, 1% dwell time gives a 1.3% increase.
Yes.
So how many of the individuals going in the store would have that discretionary spend, would increase? So we picked I can't remember exactly what the number was, but we picked a low number, something like 5% or 7% or something. So that was how we did the calculation based on that. We looked at churn, and this was a more complicated one to find a reasonable number for, to be honest. But we have direct experience with a customer who found that their competitor down the road had deployed coverage, so cellular coverage in store, and they started to see their customers churn.
Yeah.
And when they asked their customers, why are you not shopping here anymore? It was because the competitor down the road had deployed cellular
because
coverage.
when I go down there, I don't enter a 25 to 45 minute black spot.
Well, this is a really key point for retailers, because I know from experience, you know from experience, we've got 3 people sat here who've experienced it firsthand, that going into a store where you know you're not going to have mobile connectivity, whether that's to make a phone call, check pricing, do whatever it might be, is going to dampen that experience. And ultimately, you're either going to not spend as much time in store, which is the dwell time. The churn potential is high, because if I know, my supermarket on the south side of town is terrible for mobile signal, I might have to drive a little bit further to go to another store, but I know I'm always going to be able to make a phone call if I need to pick up the box of eggs or whatever. So I think from a return on investment point of view, although it could seem quite fluffy, it's like, oh, well, we give our customers mobile signal. The dwell time, I think, is really key, because if I'm walking around that store and I'm on a business call, for example, and I'm thinking I'll do this while I'm probably not thinking about what I'm putting in my basket that much. I'm probably like going, oh, look, that looks nice, putting it in, not making the normal buying decisions that I might be, where I might go, oh, no, that's a bit silly. Suddenly I'm at the checkout and I've putting through £20 worth of shopping more than I would. So
absolutely, and that extends to something I found when I was doing the research was distracted customers spend more.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you distract a customer?
Get their partner to ring them while they're in store.
Using the phone.
All sorts will be going in that basket.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the example was, this is specifically not about people making a phone call to ask if we need to buy something else.
Just people on
this
the phone.
was a phone call.
Yeah.
That came in. It could be a business phone call. It could be a phone call from family or whatever. And you're walking around the store taking the call. Whilst you're distracted, this piece of research we found suggested that you do one of 2 things. You put the more expensive item of something that you're buying.
Yeah, because it's the brand, or...
Yeah, you put the more expensive brand in, because you just...
I haven't got time to think about this. I get that one that I trust.
Yeah. Or you end up buying more.
Yeah.
Right? You just put something else in. You're walking past, and it sort of feeds the discretionary spend bit.
I suppose it could even be... I don't know, I'm going to use this, I don't know why, a big bottle of ketchup or a little bottle of ketchup. If the big bottles, you're not paying attention, you just grab the one that you can see and put that in your basket.
It's all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, again, if your shoppers can't be distracted, you've lost the potential benefit of that slice of revenue as well. So there's lots of different things feed into this.
Retailers put a lot of time and effort into keeping you in the store in other ways, don't they? They I know from local supermarkets, they move stuff around, because then you're going down aisles that you haven't been down before.
So that's been a strategy for years, right?
Exactly, I've known that, since I was a kid. My mum used to moan that they'd move stuff around, but she'd still go back there, and you'd go down a different aisle.
To make you walk around, because it's discretionary spend.
So we know from a retail point of view that they are doing things to distract you, themselves. So actually, fixing mobile signal in a store is a really... easy way of doing that. The more people are on the phones all the time these days. I know it could be frustrating for some people, but for the retailer,
but that's the reality of life, right? And
exactly.
The younger the generation, the more likely they are to be. If you look at the demographics of these various bits of research, the younger shoppers are more likely to use their phone than older.
Well, I know what it's like if I turn the Wi-Fi off for the kids. They're pretty upset.
It's the only way to get their attention these
days. That's the generation that's coming through in the retail world now. They're going to be the ones spending money, and they're going to expect to be connected all the time.
Yes. Yes, yeah.
And there's also some negative revenue stuff, right, that we looked at. So things like dwell times at tills. So we talked earlier about, whilst you're shopping, you want to increase the dwell time. When you get to tills, you want to speed everybody up. Modern shoppers now, if they hit long queues, that's when the retailer's at risk of abandoned trolleys, right?
Yeah.
The abandoned trolley syndrome.
Yes.
So, and it happens, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a revenue increase, but it's lost revenue.
Of course, yeah.
So then you have to look at what's slowing progress through the tills. And a major European retailer that we're working with has said, that's part of that issue was connectivity for their customers accessing their loyalty apps.
Right.
So,
Yes,
and getting their vouchers whilst they were checking out. They need
Yes.
the vouchers to get the discounts or whatever. So that's a revenue impacting thing. I mean, it's a bit of a negative revenue impacting thing. But actually, it's all fixed by the same issue. So I think when we look at this, it's not about you're not doing this stuff already. It's about improving the connected strategy or connectivity strategy to enable more of your customers to do have the behavior that you're trying to get them to have through your marketing, through your store planning, through your labeling, all of that stuff. The retailers are designing all of that to try and increase average spend, right?
Of course, yeah.
So why stop at the last bit?
Why stand in their way?
Why stop at the last bit? So our view is you can't enable it through.
We should
Wi-Fi.
be selling this to the marketing department of the retailers, not the technology department. Be dead easy.
The trouble is, I think it's multi-touch, isn't it? It's the regional managers, it's the store managers, it's the you got to get through the technology, the product people. You want the C-suite interested, because if you're talking to a big customer, they're going to roll it out across a large number of locations.
On that point, interestingly, I mean, were you going to? Because I know we've got this case study. Not case study. We've got this business case document, and we're going to Nextivity are going to publish that when you're ready. Quite right. Maybe by the time people are watching this, it'll be ready to view. We can explain how people can get access to that, but we can certainly help them get access to that at the relevant points. So if anyone wants to know, they can inquire, and we can put them in touch. Was there an ROI number at the end of broadly, what was that?
So by the time we flowed all of this model through, and remember the ROI includes the operational efficiencies, which we'll
have a separate. Yeah, exactly.
But depending on, and we made various assumptions to get to the ROI number. If you assumed that putting cellular in managed to achieve you all of the gains, so 100% of the gains, but bear in mind the 100% of our gains are always the lowest bracket of any range that we found in the research. So it's the conservative number, but if you assumed you got all of it, the ROI was in the hundreds, right, in the hundreds of percent. I only don't want to give the exact number now. One, because I'm not sure I can necessarily remember it, and two, because we're finalising the documentation, so we might.
But you wouldn't be sitting here talking about it if it wasn't a hugely impressive opportunity
it's a big number
for the client.
But it was so big that and we've had this conversation, right? It was so big that I'm looking at it thinking, wow, the risk of this is that it gets in front of a CFO or a CEO or a regional manager, and they go, oh, this is clearly being built in favour of the manufacturer.
What I think is an interesting point on that is that we, the royal we, I'm great at that, you have worked really hard to find all that data and information using head office research capabilities, your own time. Who's going to know those numbers better than anyone about dwell?
The retailers.
About drop baskets, about loyalty. They'll know. So they, I would imagine, will get that document or those documents, or maybe your or our time. They'll ask us questions about the assumptions made, and they'll say, "Oh, that's far too low."
Yeah.
If you get that up to there, that'll go to there.
Absolutely.
So the hard work that's been done, they can almost put their own numbers into it once they see it, can't they?
Look, the reason for doing it is, I mean, look, firstly, we're focused on the retail vertical this year. Right?
Yeah.
It's a big and
we're
working with you guys, collaborating with you guys. So it's a big issue for us. It's a big drive. We've got a lot of retail customers already, but we're already through this year with the push that we've had. We've got many more retail customers that are now talking to us about they recognise they have cellular coverage issues. So for us in developing the business case, it's a discussion tool, right? I'm not for any minute trying to tell a grocery store that I know their business better than they do.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is this is how the return on investment looks to us. So challenge me on it. When I say me, I mean challenge the company on it. Right? And go through it.
Yeah,
Let us sit with you and discuss it, and you tell us if we've made big assumptions or low assumptions.
I think that's the thing is you've put the time and effort in, like Adam said, because we all understand the problem. We all understand that the retailers don't necessarily. I don't want to say they don't understand the problem, but they don't necessarily realise the return on investment. So I think having this option there for them, and you can do that through us or with Colin.
Well, one number we can absolutely hang our hat on is pretty much what the kit's going to cost them to install. Because we're installing it, you're manufacturing it, we know exactly what that bit's going to be, and we give those numbers out very easily and very quickly.
But I think the thing I was going to say is, come and challenge us, really come and challenge us on this, because like you've just said, we know how much it's going to cost, and we know we're very confident now that we can show a return on investment on this. And
but it will vary, right? So again, we've created this standard customer that happens to be a grocery store. But what happens in fashion retail? Now we've got fashion retailers that are using our kit, so we know it works in fashion retail as well. So it's like, let's have the discussions. We've got many in car retailers, for example. But the car retailers are not going to have the same experience as the grocery retailer. It's not about increasing the average spend through putting things in your basket. No, it's not about discretionary spend, right? It's other stuff. So it's having refining the business case across the piece that we're interested in. We want to be challenged. To some extent, I want to be proven wrong. And that could be, we're proven wrong by estimating too low on something. It could be we're proven wrong by estimating too high. We have always tried to use industry, analyst reports or surveys or whatever. So we've tried to be very honest about the way that we've done it. To the extent, just going back to the return on investment numbers, I'm not going to assume or try and tell someone we're going to get 100% of all these benefits, right? So we did the number to say, what does it look like if we did? The reality is we're not. So we've done downgraded versions of the return on investments, but they are, even the lowest one is pushing 100%, right? It's like so. There's got to, if the lowest one is getting up there, you've got to say there's a business case that works, right?
Of course, and I think in backing that up and coming towards summarising, but in backing that up. Of course, a retailer of any type that we might have described, fashion, automotive, grocery, they're not going to say, oh, it sounds great, let's put it in all our stores. They're going to say, let's try it in a region or try it in a store. Once you've tried it in a store, you'll be able to actually see in real terms, over a course of probably, realistically, 6 to 12 months, what the ROI is like. We're very confident, having looked at those numbers together, that anyone that does it will be saying, let's roll it out further, test again. We wouldn't expect, if you've got 1,400 stores, we wouldn't expect you to do it in every store. You might want to, but you will have stores that have got bigger problems than others. So again, the ROI. But if anyone watching is interested in that, again, as a little plug, that's what we're here for at the end of the day. Let us know. We can talk to you about how we can help put that together to make it as appealing as possible, certainly. The only other thing I wanted to add, we probably unknowingly geared our conversation a little around large multi-site retailers, which is, of course, important because that's where the biggest ROI might lie. We have together we have a product line suitable for a retailer of any size.
Absolutely.
We have the enterprise grade stuff, which is fabulous, and we could talk to you all day about that. We have single network solutions if it's just a retailer's own problem with their network. We have solutions available for any office, retail outlet, small or huge in size. So we can solve all of those problems. This isn't just for the multi-site retailers. It can be for anyone.
Absolutely.
It's as appropriate for all.
Absolutely. There's
so
a couple of final thoughts.
Yes, please.
Because I want to encourage the retailers that listen to this to think about their own cases. So again, we've sort of discussed in the past bits that haven't actually made it into the business case, right?
Yes.
So clearing fees on card payments, and how one of the retailers we're talking to is looking to reduce that burden by implementing cellular coverage. There was two aspects to that, wasn't there? One was the clearing fee for actually having used
and that's the transaction, that's the credit card or debit card transaction fees.
Clearing fees, exactly that. So I mean, that was a big number for them.
Yeah.
And so they're looking to alleviate that, or how they alleviate at least some of it. And so there's a business case for this retailer in just that one issue, right?
Yes.
Because the number is big.
Yes.
So if they can solve half that number, it more than pays for the coverage that they're looking to implement across the stores. Yeah. I think, Mark, you were saying to me earlier about when using a Wi-Fi system, the clearing fees are higher.
If you use the card machines, and this is probably where you touch on the big retailer versus the smaller retailer. In small retail, and I know this from years ago, that if you use Wi-Fi on a PDQ machine when you're paying in a restaurant, if that's on a Wi-Fi network, you pay a premium because it's less secure than if it has a 4G SIM card in it.
Right.
So retailers are desperate to put to have all their devices on a SIM card rather than on a Wi-Fi network because it actually saves them money.
Yes.
And if you're, say you're a pub or a restaurant chain and you've got hundreds of chains across the country, I believe, I don't know the stats on it, but I believe there's a big penalty as such for using a Wi-Fi network because it's less secure and you're taking people's card details. You're taking payments on that machine. So
again, that was interesting. I didn't know that.
Until
earlier today.
And these are the little things as well that I think the customers wouldn't necessarily know, and some retailers don't necessarily see it as something that they could solve in their businesses by improving mobile signal.
Yes. And the other, I mean, it sort of leads into the other thing that we haven't sort of touched on as we've gone through this, which is payment clearing, payment authentication.
Yes.
Which
big part of it.
Yeah, which plays a part in this, either because they've transitioned to cellular-based payment system.
Yeah.
And we've seen that where a retailer has transitioned and then gone, right, now I don't have cellular coverage.
Yeah.
And I've even been in a hotel that's had the problem where they've delivered food to the room and then can't take payment because they've got cellular coverage.
Yeah.
So I think it's an issue they need to look at, but also this idea of regulatory payment authentication and how that's achieved. Because it's if you're not using something like a banking app or something like that, then the payment is authenticated through SMS.
Yeah.
SMS is a cellular service.
Of course.
Needs the SIM.
So
proof of ownership.
At the moment in the UK, the only time I feel people see the SMS side of things coming in is with two-factor authentication. But I know in some countries now they're bringing that into the payment world. I don't know if we've started rolling that out properly in the payment world, but it's an extra layer of security on top of chip and PIN that for larger transactions, people are going to start receiving an SMS and then they'd have to put that code into the receiver to
which becomes a particular issue for the vehicle industry, right?
Yeah, big transactions.
Exactly.
So and the point of raising these two or three last things was there's going to be something that is particular to a particular retail type that hasn't found its way into my business case, but actually
it's a growing document, evolving case use requirement.
And I'm sure, I mean, we've got case studies on our website. You guys have got case studies for this. There are different cases for different types of retail, but you touched on the motor industry there. You don't want to be selling a Jaguar or a Porsche and someone's got to walk out to the car park.
Sending them out into the rain.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
it's sort of
ruining, transact this 150
ruining the
lease
customer
deals and payments, right? Lease deals need authentication.
Exactly. You ruin the customer experience. So.
Right, boys. I know you could talk all day on this subject, as could I, but we have other business to attend to, so I'm going to summarise and wrap up if you don't mind. So hopefully our viewers have found that really informative. I certainly have, and thanks again for your time, Colin.
It's been an enjoyable chat.
So valuable for us to have you here. If anyone wants to get in touch, you can go to the website, signalsolutions.co.uk. On there you'll find a form for a desktop survey that you can fill in, and we'll be in touch, probably me actually, to find out a little bit more info and give you some indicative costs and system designs. You can find us on all the social media channels and especially LinkedIn at Signal Solutions. Just put that in your search and you'll find us. Or info@signalsolutions.co.uk is a great way to get in touch. From today, thank you, Mark, Colin. It's been a pleasure, and we'll be back soon with another episode of Signal Solutions TV. So we'll see you again very soon.